Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Today I'm just out because I want to explore my environment and just get used to the area around where I live at the moment and just see what things are around here. There's so much dense forest to explore and there's so much landscape to see. So yeah, I'm just out here to see what I can find. Hopefully I do find some cool things. But anyway, let's check it out and see what happens. I'm actually finding it very hard to find a composition in this clutter. There's so much, and at the same time there's just so little options in a way. There's things that just don't really stand out, and I think that's where the problem is finding things to take a picture of that stands out. Right now I'm just surrounded by lots of trees and grass and leaves and stuff. Obviously, yes, that's great, and those things can be pretty amazing, but finding the composition that works with them, that's always the hard thing. And as much as I love coming into the forest, taking pictures of the forest is actually one of, at least for me, one of the most difficult things to take photos of, just because there is so much and you just really have to zone in and find those particular things to take photos of. The one thing that's nice about being in here is a lot of birds. There's a huge amount of different birds. There's woodpeckers and quite a few other small birds, but I didn't come here to take photos of birds today. Otherwise I would have brought my 300mm with me, but today I only have the 16-35 and my 70-200mm. Sure, that could work to take photos of birds too, but yeah, I really wanted to just get used to the area and just see what kind of things I can find. One thing I know is here in the winter things would be probably a lot easier and a little bit more minimalistic, which for me makes things definitely easier to take a photo. So yeah, I'm just taking a little break right now just to kind of take things in and just kind of refresh my mind a little bit, because I'm so used to, especially now, I'm used to taking so much wildlife images that I just need to kind of refresh my brain a little bit with taking photos of forests. But yeah, there will be some pictures obviously in this video. I just need to take a little time to think and just take the environment in and just relax in it for a moment. So I just found this bit of opening here between these two trees, and I can actually see the mountain in the background. Composition wise, it's a little bit difficult. I actually tried using my 16-35mm, but I don't really think it looks that good, and I'm trying to get as much in here at the same time, but not too much at the same time. I'm wanting to single out a little bit and try and focus on making that mountain stand out a little bit and drag it into the image. So I've put on my 70-200mm and I'm just trying to single out the mountain in such a way that just makes it work a little bit more. It's still very difficult because there's a lot of distracting things in front of me. I've got these small trees just below me and then another few going there, and then the sun's glowing through them, so I kind of have to really think about the composition here. So the only way I can do this is to take multiple shots and basically choose the one that looks the best once I get to the computer and just see how it looks then, because when I'm standing here it looks really nice, it looks beautiful, but as a composition and getting the shot doesn't always work. It is quite difficult to get. So the only way I can do this is to take multiple shots, do it in portrait, do it in landscape, and just play around with it a little bit until I get that shot that just works really well. So right now there's a lot of elements that are glowing quite a lot, and the background is also dark. The mountain is in a dark spot but also has areas that are light as well, so there's a lot going on here and a lot to really focus on, and I do want to get quite a lot of depth out of this as well. So I'm shooting this at f8 and around 1/200th of a second because I have my ISO down to 100. I could put it up and shoot at a faster shutter speed, but the OS on this lens works really well, so vibration isn't too much of a problem, so shooting at 200th of a second really shouldn't be a problem anyway. But yeah, I'll try not to blabber too much. Let's just take a look at the shot. Found myself in this really nice and interesting bit of forest here. It has this like luscious green around here, and then at the same time I've got the river coming through at the bottom there, so I'm getting a nice reflection of the sun coming through, and there's just beams of light coming through the forest and through the trees, and that is really pretty much what I'm looking to get here, and capturing this vibrant green that's around here. It's quite a beautiful scene, and at the same time all the trees in here are completely bare. Some of them have still got their leaves on, and if anything the ones that do look bare are only have some greenery right at the top of them. So at the moment it's just brown and green, but the vibrancy and the difference between the two just really complement each other, and where the light is just shining through on the ground is just making the images, it's just making the scene look that much better. The only problem I have in here is all these little mosquitoes. I have bug spray on today, but it doesn't look like it's helping against these ones, so I don't want to spend too much time in here. So I'm just gonna go for quite a simple, and well, I say simple, but hopefully simple composition here, and just trying to work the shot around and trying to make it where I can still get as much as I can, and just try and angle the camera correctly. I'm not sure if I want to go lower or higher. At the moment I'm shooting at quite a higher angle, and it seems to work because I'm still getting a nice bit of the ground in, but I think also if I aim a little bit more towards the ground, you're getting that nice feeling of being drawn into the image. So I'm just gonna play around with this one a little bit and see which composition actually works best for this. But either way, I think this is gonna make quite a nice image. Quite an interesting position where I'm at actually right now. There's this little kind of like island here, and there's a lot of mud, so I don't really want to walk down into that, but I'm getting this nice long grass on the other side which is just glowing through the sun, and the sun is just behind those trees there, and I think this could actually make quite an interesting shot. At least getting this at the right angle would really help. So I'm going to go for quite a low shot and shoot at 16mm, so it's going to be quite wide as well, which I think will really benefit for this location. And I just want to really draw out as much of this as I can. Just the way the light is coming through the grass and the trees and everything, I just want to emphasize that quite a lot. So I'm probably going to shoot this at around f6, maybe up to f10. And the water in the background is kind of moving and stuff, but I don't really want to shoot a slow shutter speed to capture that. I'm not really worried about that. I just love the way it looks like there's been a moose or something that's been walking in the water here. So there's kind of like these little mud piles, which I think really add to the effect of the image, just to add a little bit dimension. And yeah, so I'm just going to play around with this shot. I think it actually could work it really nicely. There's even a few somewhat branches and stuff below me which I can actually use within the front of the image to kind of emphasize that glow from the sun and add a little bit more depth to this. but I think this actually could be quite a nice one. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to see this one myself. I've made my way down to the spot where a lot of people often come fishing, because there's a nice bridge here that they can go on, and also they have this little hut here, especially during the winter. They can kind of have a little camping fire there and stuff like that. But right now I'm actually in a spot where the water normally flows through, and last time I was here there was water just rushing down these rocks and going over through into the river. But right now it's quite low at the moment, and the water is just really nice. It's this great little puddle here, and you're getting a bit of the rocks into the view as well, which is really interesting. So I decided to just set my tripod up here and focus on one of these rocks that is just going into the water, and just get the reflection of the sky and some of the trees in the background there. And I just love the way this area just goes into this kind of like a triangular form. Just looks really nice, and you've got the vibrancy of the green around plus the reflection and the brown. I think I'm gonna have to get myself a polarizing filter for this next time, just to make the reflections on the water go away a little bit, and so you get a little bit more of those colors coming through. But I think this could work out quite nicely, and the water is not exactly flowing right now, so I'm not worrying about getting such a slow shutter speed to capture motion, but I do want to capture a lot of detail out of this, so I'm going to actually have to shoot at quite a slow shutter speed anyway. So I'm going to shoot this at around f10, which means I'm going to have to put this down to 1/60th of a second, but it seems to look quite perfect for this right now. I'm going to drop my camera probably a little bit lower just to be able to focus in on the rocks and the water, just so you get a little bit of play with the foreground and lead your eye out into the rest of the water. So yeah, let me take this shot. I think it could turn out to be pretty nice, and I think that'll be it for today. So yeah, let's just check this out first. I thought I would just get out today and see what I can find locally and explore a little bit. I haven't really looked around here that much yet. I've been at this spot I'm at right now with my kids just to play around, but I haven't really gone into the forest or anything to look. But the hardest thing for me has been photography in the forest. I tend to struggle with that quite a lot, and it's trying to focus on finding things and elements that just really stick out. But when you find that gem, it turns out to be really good, and sometimes it's absolutely great to go home with something awesome in your bag to be able to share. And yeah, I mean, I hope today I've gotten a few things that really did work, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. It's just the way photography is sometimes, and you just got to take it with a pinch of salt and experiment with things sometimes. But obviously I'm going to be making a lot of videos around here, so I think I'm going to have quite a lot of training with this. But I definitely want to get up into the mountains a little bit more. I love going into the mountains. I love that view and the experience and the feeling you get from it. But I also want to do a lot of wildlife photography as well. But at the moment, a lot of the birds and stuff that have been around have gone now because their young have grown up, and it's kind of off season. So I need to find a location where I can see some moose or some deer or something. But so far I've only seen tracks, I've not actually seen the animals, so I just need to find locations where that's actually going to work. So that will come later. Also at the end of this week I'm taking my kids away for a week, so that means there might not be a video next week, but we'll see how that goes. There might end up being something, but I just wanted to let you all know that there might be a little gap in between, but otherwise after that I'll keep coming with videos every week. But anyway, yeah, I do have quite a lot to explore around here. So there's so much more to come. And anyway, hope you've all enjoyed this. Hope you've enjoyed the images, and I'll see you all next time.